Welcome to the Hard Thing Podcast. This is The Forge. Welcome back to another episode of the Hard Thing Podcast. This is the show that helps you bridge the gap between being average and being where you want to be. The whole goal here is to help you improve your life in meaningful ways by doing hard things. And to do that, we're here to give you the tips, tricks, tools, tactics, everything you need to do exactly that. On Mondays, we actually have interviews with high-performing individuals who have done hard things and live to tell the tale. And they always give us action items. And today, on our Thursday show, myself, Justin Lewis, and co-host Ty Crockett, we actually go through the action items given to us from the guests of our Monday show. And then we also give each other challenges in an effort to push each other, push ourselves, and give you an example of what doing hard things looks like. So guess what? You can go do it and improve your life by doing that. So before we get into the show though, one quick note about Operation Underground Railroad. We are a firm supporter of Operation Underground Railroad. We want to tell you about them. They are a nonprofit organization that goes undercover to rescue kids from sex trafficking, and they need a lot of help. So we want to get the word out. We just like to invite you to go to OURrescue.org, get to know what they're all about, because their mission can be summed up in the simple sentence of taking light into places of darkness. That's what they do. So if you want to get to know what they do, go to OURrescue.org. Now, let's start off the show, Ty, talking about the old challenge that I gave you, which was to work on your trailer, putting the walls up and making measurable improvement. How'd it go?
It went well. I was unable to do certain things because I need to make a door, and I was gonna be buying a door, but doors for an RV is like $400, and that's not money I want to spend. So I'm gonna make the door, but I'm gonna have to cut out the hole in the side of the plywood. So, anyways, I ran into some issues with that because I don't know how to do that necessarily.
Okay.
And there's only one shot, and I don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but I have made progress. Like I put in the insulation, I put in the walls, or at least the interior walls, and I also bought a Skydome window.
Awesome. I saw that. Do you have before and after pictures of this challenge?
I'm sure I do.
I mean, you could just go take an after picture right now. You said you had a picture
I know
before.
I have it before. Yeah.
Cool. Can you send those to me, and we will get those up on the Hard Thing Podcast Instagram.
Yeah.
When this show releases.
Faux show.
Cool. Awesome. So that was Ty's old challenge. Now, we would like to talk to you guys a little bit more about The Forge. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Justin, this is The Forge, this podcast episode I'm listening to. And yes, you're right. But The Forge is so much more than that. You see, one of the most important things you can do in trying to do hard things is get a network of supportive people around you to help you do hard things. And that's what The Forge is, really. It's actually a community where you can find like-minded individuals who are trying to do hard things just like you and are willing to support you in your efforts as you are in theirs. And it's a free community you can sign up for, where you actually also get bonus content from these podcasts, such as bonus questions I ask podcast guests, and sometimes bloopers from me and Ty here on this show. So if you want to sign up for that, go to theforge.mn.co, sign up for free, and join a community of people who are just like you. Now, let's talk about the action items from this last week's guest. I talked to Amanda Neely. She is the podcast host. She's the podcast host of the Grandma's Wealth Wisdom podcast. It's all about finances and things like that. The first action item is to get sure knowledge about your business.
Sure knowledge about your business.
Cool.
First of all, before we move forward,
go ahead.
Two things.
Yep.
First thing, I just got a puppy yesterday.
Yeah.
And because of that, I got 4 hours of sleep last night. So I've already kind of like, what's the word?
Out of it?
No. Well, yeah, but.
Delirious?
No. I've already lost, not train of thought. I've already gone into a daze and totally forgot what you were saying. So that's a thing.
Okay. Good to know.
But also, secondly, Justin, you have a fortune in your phone from a fortune cookie?
Yeah.
Like, what does it say?
Oh, okay. Well, happy little tangent. The fortune says, happy events will take place in your home.
Sounds fake.
Well, I take it more of as a command rather than like a fortune.
Yeah.
More of like...
I mean, it still would be a fortune.
It would be, but it's like create a home where happy events generally take place.
I see.
So that's my injunction to myself.
One time I got a fortune cookie, and it said, "You will go to China." It was from Panda Express, fortune cookie. And I thought I should post this on social media and be like, "Hey, Panda, when am I going to China?"
Yeah.
And see if they fund a trip to China for me because of this
That would be pretty funny.
fortune that they bestowed upon me.
I got a fortune cookie once that said, "Ask your mom," from Panda Express.
Are we gonna
Dude, you're the one who
cancel?
what?
Are we gonna cancel Panda Express?
No, dude, I like
Wait, I'm
Panda
the one
Express.
that what?
You're the one. I thought you were going to be like, are we going to keep talking about this? I was going to be like, dude, you're the one who freaking derailed it. Back to the question.
Sure knowledge of your business.
Yes. And this was in the context of when they wanted to start this business, they actually did a fast to see if it was something that they thought was useful for them. And that helped them clear their minds and also see that doing this was useful. And I wanted to say that I felt this way about doing this podcast. Not necessarily like I was called to do it or whatever, but I felt that like it was something inside of me, some sort of creation or whatever that had to break loose, that had to come out.
Had to manifest.
Exactly. And that's one reason why I've been doing this so long, because with that feeling, I had the realization that I couldn't just start it and stop it after 6 months.
Right.
Number 2, the action item was to involve people creatively. And actually, funny thing, we have a living example of how I've done this here in the person of Ty. Involving Ty in this was kind of a bucket list item for both of us, getting someone on the show, but also Ty wanted to do his own podcast and have that experience. But also,
Here we are.
I had this idea as far as involving people creatively, and I wanted to get your audience's take on this. So message me on Instagram or Facebook at The Hard Thing Podcast. Let me know what you think. If I get... Go ahead.
Creatively, what does that mean? Because, like, you have to involve them in a creative capacity, or do you have to come up with a creative way for them to be included?
Second one. So, for example, Amanda gives the example of starting a coffee shop, not having a big budget, and needing a specific part of their shop renovated, and they needed to demolish this wall, right? So she called up a bunch of her friends, and they tore it down, had a nice fun pizza party, and the contractor who she had originally bid the demolition said, I would have had to pay like $1,000 to $2,000 for that. And she's like, yep, we saved a bunch of money and people had fun. That's an example. So here's what I'm proposing to the audience. On the Hard Thing Podcast store, so thehardthingpodcast.com/shop, we have t-shirts and things like that, but it's all with the Hard Thing Podcast logo. Now, I want to see if anyone out there has intentions or interest in designing new t-shirt designs for the store. And obviously, if you do, we'll come up with some sort of profit-sharing model between us and the artist, and that'll all get taken care of that way. But I just want to see if you'd be interested in some sort of competition in which we pick the best design, and then they are officially put up on the store and things like that. So if you have feelings about that, go ahead and reach out to me at The Hard Thing Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know what you think. If you have interest in doing that kind of competition, we'd be happy to facilitate that and have a really cool t-shirt put up on the store. Obviously, the t-shirt would have to align with the brand and things like that. Number 3 is to build an emergency fund.
Boy, that one's so important.
Yeah.
Also, near impossible.
Why?
Because when you're like me, you either have a hard time saving, or you have a hard time not spending the money that you saved, which is equivalent to not saving.
Yeah. I've found that the best way for me to do an emergency fund is, and this is kind of what we're doing right now, my wife and I. So last year we had an FSA, so a federal savings account, or it's something to do with health. So it's a savings account that you can use specifically on medical things. And this year we didn't want to do that. So instead we're putting $50 every paycheck into a whole separate bank account than the one that we use normally and things like that. And we found that really helps us stay away from that money, because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. That's at least what we're doing. And I found that when you have an emergency fund, you're able to act in a way that you act more logically because you've pulled your emotions out of things. You're not desperate. Because desperation, as a friend told me, desperation is good for inspiration, but not performance. So when your back's up against the wall, desperation can get you moving. But when you need to consistently move in the right direction and perform, desperation is not what you want. And that's what emergency funds are for, because when you're desperate, that's when you can make really, really big mistakes. Or you can make really good choices, but with an emergency fund, hopefully you don't make bad choices, you make good choices.
Yeah, and I do have a small savings, but it's definitely not as much as I would like to be for an emergency fund. I feel like there's like a rule of like 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, and it's like to get there can be daunting sometimes. So
It really can be.
I like 1 month or maybe 2 months.
Dude, you're probably ahead of most Americans.
No,
So keep at it and keep working to get that emergency fund.
Save.
Number 4 is to profit first. This is a very important one, especially if you're in business. And it's kind of back to the idea that you are your biggest asset. So you have the right and the privilege and the responsibility to make sure you take care of yourself. You can't put the mask on someone else in an airplane if you haven't got the mask on yourself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Cool.
But actually, so say it again.
What part?
The action item.
Profit first.
Profit first. So when you're in business, profit first. The reason why is because a lot of times people want to give charity, which is a good thing, and you should want to do that, and you should want to give service. But if your business is not making money, you don't have a business.
Yep.
And if you don't have a business, you don't have a living. Unless you have like a job on the side.
Yep.
But like you want your business. The whole point of having a business is to create a living for yourself.
Yep.
So that's just food for thought. Like don't just give things out all the time unless you can definitely afford it, and it's not part of your business model. It's not like
right.
Because my dad he used to do that. He's an awesome guy as far as like just really giving, and he was always giving, but then he found that like people were just like wouldn't pay him, and he'd be like, "Hey, I need the money."
He'd be like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, like he didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe like mentally, he'd be like, "Dang."
Yeah. It was more like a man.
I feel like sometimes too, people can operate out of like a win-lose mindset, and that's why they don't profit first, because in their mind they're like, people shouldn't pay me. I mean, I'm asking them for money. That's not fair.
Right.
But in reality, we should operate off of a win-win mindset, thinking that I'm offering something valuable, and if people think it's valuable, they're going to pay me, and we both profit. And hopefully that should also influence how you create your products and things like that. So it does benefit the other person, and it's a step up for both parties because they're trading something for lower value in their mind for something higher, and it's a good,
right.
Awesome. So those are the 4 action items. Now, in talking to all of the high-performing individuals I have, all the people who have done really hard things, one commonality stands out above the rest, and that is high-performing individuals are always supported by a network of high-quality individuals. They always have people around them that are able to pull out the best from them and encourage the best in them. And we want to give you that same opportunity. Sometimes you need to actually pay professionals to get the best out of you. So on the Hard Thing Podcast on the hardthingpodcast.com/trainers, there are lots of options that will be opening up in the future for free consultations with professional coaches, consultants, and trainers that can help get the best out of you. Obviously, after that, you'll have to pay for their services, but you can at least get a free initial consultation. And in fact, you can get one today in the line of exercise and nutrition from Jason Laporte, who's the owner of Semper Fit Nutrition here in Utah. He's also the host of the Damage Plan MMA podcast. You can schedule a free consultation with him for your exercise and nutrition needs, and then schedule any further consultations with him, obviously figuring out how that works between you. But just use that to get yourself to the next step, the next level of your progression because having someone on the outside who does not have any emotional stake in your life is always better when they care about helping you get to the next level because, well, they are financially incentivized to do so. So go to thehardthingpodcast.com/fitness and get your free consultation with Jason Laporte today. And then keep an eye out at thehardthingpodcast.com/trainers for other consultations that are coming up. For example, we have one in the near future for business consultations. And yeah, keep an eye out for that. Now, let's get to the new challenges.
New challenges, my dude.
Number 1, meditate a half hour every day.
Meditación por media hora.
For Spanish speakers out there. Number 2 is to spend 45 minutes every day outside.
45 minutes every day outside?
Yeah, dude. I don't care what you're doing, but
just got a
be
puppy,
outside for 45 minutes.
so that's going to be pretty easy.
Cool. Number 3 is for all your workouts this week, don't use any headphones or listening devices.
Only this week?
Well, I guess 2 weeks.
Here's the problem with that one, though, is that getting the puppy means I'm not going to be going to the gym for the next, week.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, well, are you going to work out here? Or?
Here? Nah. I mean, I might run. But you're telling me I have to go without any music?
Yeah. I can change it if you want.
Go ahead.
Okay, new challenge number 3. Do 5 workouts at home every week. So in the next 2 weeks, do 10 workouts, 10 home workouts.
I hate that one.
Well, sucks to suck.
No.
Are you gonna?
What's the next? So what's the first one again?
What's the next one? I can give you more. Number 1, meditate a half hour every day.
Meditate a half hour every day. What was number 2?
Number 2, spend 45 minutes outside every day. 45 unbroken minutes. Number 3 is do 10 home
5.
workouts.
You said 5, but
between now and the next podcast.
Can't believe you changed it on me like that.
Dude, you did the same thing to me a couple times.
Yeah, you're right. Let's do that first one.
Meditate every day for a half hour. Awesome. So Ty is going to do that. He's going to tell us how he feels about that in 2 weeks. But we want you guys to come back for our show on Monday with Jennifer Benson. You remember that tidal wave, that tsunami that happened in Thailand a few years ago? Well, Jennifer Benson was there, and she actually had to run away from that tsunami. So if you want to hear what that experience was like, come back on Monday for our show with Jennifer Benson. We talk a lot about just moving on in life and figuring out what to do next. And actually, here are the action items for next week. It is 1, to spend 5 minutes of silence daily. Number 2 is to ask for signs from the universe. That's a really interesting one. And number 3 is to practice affirmations. So if you want to hear those, come back on Monday and Thursday. You'll get the full lowdown. But I want to say thank you for being here, listening to the show, and giving us the support you guys do. More than anything, the way you can support the show, obviously you can leave a rating and a review and share it, whatever. But the best way you can support the show is to go do hard things and see results in your life. So go do hard things, guys, because you will overcome average.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nice.